News on WDSU.
And back to that national breaking news as Charlie Kirk, a right-wing activist and Trump supporter, is dead after being shot in the neck during an event at Utah Valley University, a figure who was actually supposed to be at LSU in October.
That's right. President Trump announced the tragic news on Truth Social, and at this point, no suspect is in custody. Kirk is the 31-year-old founder of Turning Point USA, a prominent nonprofit that activates youth on college campuses. Louisiana lawmakers reacting to the news.
In a statement, Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill calls the video circulating both shocking and disturbing, and goes on to say that political violence has no place in our society.
And to our local breaking news now, not guilty. That's how New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell answers to the federal corruption charges against her.
That's right. The mayor and her former bodyguard, Jeffrey Vappy, are accused of a 3-year fraud scheme, allegedly using city funds to travel as they carried on an alleged relationship.
Well, Cantrell, the city's first sitting mayor to be charged while in office. And WDSU bringing you team coverage of today's arraignment. We begin with investigator Cassie Sherm, who was in court for that hearing. Cassie.
Yeah, guys, and it was a packed house in that court hearing, guys, as Mayor LaToya Cantrell pleaded not guilty to these charges. Now, the mayor came in and she stood before a federal judge as prosecutors laid out the indictment, charging her with conspiracy, wire fraud, obstruction of justice, false statements, and lying to a grand jury. In court, the mayor was ordered to surrender her passport, stay in eastern Louisiana unless she gets court approval to travel, and have no contact with her codependent, which is former police officer Jeffrey Vappy. Prosecutors say he joined her on more than a dozen taxpayer-funded trips and stayed with her in her city-owned Pentalba apartment while on duty. Cantrell will remain under probation supervision while the case moves forward, with her next court date as a pretrial. Guys, it's set for October 13th, just days after the election, and the trial date is set for November 17th. I spoke with an attorney about those dates, and he believes the trial will actually end up being a later date.
I mean, I think that's really just a placeholder. I can't imagine a scenario where a trial of this magnitude, this complicated, is going to go to trial that quickly.
I mean, the pretrial just a couple days after the election.
Yeah, I mean, certainly they're going to keep the case moving forward. I don't think the election has anything to do with the actual dates that are currently set, but, I think that this judge, Judge Vitter, is certainly going to move this case forward.
Now, Mayor Cantrell did end up slipping through a side door and not speaking to the media after the court hearing. But my co-partner, Aubrey Killian, investigative reporter Aubrey Killian, he's on the other side of federal court, and he was actually able to talk to the attorney representing the mayor. Aubrey?
Hey, Cassie, that's right. So if Mayor Cantrell is convicted, she could face prison time and major fines. I want to show you some video when we did speak to Mayor Cantrell and her team. We pushed them for answers as she was walking into federal court. After she entered, there was some confusion. The press, they waited for her to exit the courthouse, but it appears she was able to exit. Her team not saying much, but we did press her attorneys, prosecutors, and the mayor herself for answers. Take a listen. Message to the city.
Don't stick cameras in, guys. We don't want anybody to be hurt. Thank you all.
Terry, message to the, I know Mayor Cantrell can't talk, but what do you want people to know right now?
Hold on, let me get inside, Aubrey.
Any comment going in? One more? Come on,
Come on in. All right, I'm going to come back when I can, guys. Thank you all.
Any comment, guys, as we come out of court? Excuse me. Message to the city as we do get through this process.
She left. She went home.
So the mayor has left.
Did she go out?
Huh?
Did she go out the back door? Or?
There was another door on the other side. She went out with the detail and with the marshal.
How typical is that to allow
prepared?
Oh, well, it's strictly for security purposes.
And Mayor Cantrell's attorney claiming that it's business as usual for her over at City Hall. Again, it's important to note, while Mayor Cantrell has been charged and is accused of these crimes, she has not been convicted. Stay with us on this developing investigation. Back to you.
Aubrey, thank you. Here with political analyst Dr. Silas Lee. Actually, what I wanted to ask you about, picking up on that theme, business as usual, given that the mayor has now answered to the federal charges. Talk about governance. Her lawyer said business as usual. Depending on who you ask, that could be a good or a bad thing. How is she able to govern for the remainder of her term?
Well, the city will still operate. However, in terms of governance, there might be some slowdown in some issue priorities, but I doubt it. In reality, the city will continue to function, but it is a distraction. We have to be very honest about that. A federal indictment, possibility of going to trial, it is an interruption. Also, we have to acknowledge the fact that there are civil servants who will run the city, and we only have 2 months left to her tenure. Therefore, we'll continue to see governance, but it may not be at the level that some people anticipate.
Okay, and so now that she has had her say answering at least to the federal charges against her, this is also part of her legacy still being written.
Legacy is still being written. We are in the last chapter of it, and probably the last few paragraphs. However, the first paragraph will highlight the fact, first woman and first sitting mayor to be indicted. We have to wait and see as to what will be next. Will it be a trial? Will there be some type of plea bargain? And if there is a trial, what will be the verdict and the penalties involved?
You know, they said possibly going to trial in November, but we even heard her attorney say that is probably too soon. How long could this potentially play out?
Usually about close to a year. That's just a speedy trial date, and it's not realistic in terms of discovery and motions and so forth. So we're probably looking at after she is out of office, that is when the trial, if there is a trial, will be held.
All right, you talked about this being a last chapter, perhaps, of her legacy. The feds say they have it chapter and verse in terms of what they are accusing her of doing. Thank you for your expertise. Of course, we'll have more coverage on today's arraignment throughout this newscast. You can also read more on our website, WDSU.com.